How's it hanging, Phil?
Not the prime time yet.
Come and get it! So either put the gun down now, or kiss your ass goodbye.
Let's get this party started.
I agree, Dana. Let's get this party started. So, welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And let's talk horror. Now, you may notice I'm joined by two stunningly beautiful women tonight. And as advertised, there was three beautiful women that I was going to be joined with. Lady Shasha may be coming, but unfortunately, she is in Orlando, Florida. They are not having the best weather right now. So I told her if she can still make it, awesome. If not, safety first. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, taking care of your family. You got to make sure that is number one. So, but we are joined by the beautiful Keeshia Lacey of the Random Horror Show. Keeshia, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful, Ken.
We
How
are
you
so
doing?
excited to have you here.
We're great.
This is something that your episode of My First Horror Movie is coming out in 2 weeks, I believe. So people will get to know you better there. But I do have Keisha's social media links down in the description, guys. So if you don't follow her already, make sure you're clicking on those, as well as Lady Shasha. I do have all of her links down in the description as well. So make sure that you guys are checking them out because they are amazing content creators and they do a very good job at what they do. So for the people that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about what you do over at the channel?
The Random Horror Show, what I do is just commentate on different like films, like especially in the horror genre. We also touch on in science fiction, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure. And also I'm a book reader. So I like review horror literature.
Okay.
And I do have guests also. So from what I can gather, like just looking out for just horror actors, in different films, filmmakers, even down to authors, I have them, come on the show and just like and we have a great time. It's just random but awesome, what I do, and I just love it. I love horror just all the way around.
And it's one of those things where, we've all been involved in the genre for a very long time. And I'm so happy to see everything that you are doing. So what gave you the push to want to start the podcast?
It was mainly like to work on my throat chakra, but also I did do a blog a couple of years back called the Country Soul Girl. So
Okay.
in my head, I was watching Fright Night, and I just compiled like all of the different horror movies that I love, being an 80s baby, 90s horror and everything else. And I just made a horror list. And that's what spurred years later of doing my podcast. And because I was just very passionate about it. And I did an interview also on a podcast because, I'm in the beauty industry also. So it was just, everything just fell into place right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you guys know about Keeshia now. She's this way, which is really weird. Opposites. So like I said, make sure you're following her on social media as well as checking out the Random Horror Show. Now, real quick, before we get started on our rankings, we are going to catch up on the chat real quick. Hey, thank you, Charles.
Hey, Charles.
Not my favorite franchise, but still okay. I don't have an official ranking. Evil Dead Rises, my favorite. Ooh, going new. So because of your donation, King, I got something for you.
Hail to the king, baby.
I will hail to the king, Charles. You are amazing. Thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate you. I hope you're having a great night. Adrian, how you doing?
Hey, Adrian.
Hey,
Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2, The Evil Dead 2013. Are those like least favorite to favorite? Are you saying Evil Dead 2 is your least favorite, Sean? I need to know these things. These are questions that need answered. Castellar. Okay, we were just told about the show from today. We've never seen it. Our friend Chelsea was telling us about it.
Yeah, what did she say it was on?
Amazon Prime.
It's on Prime, but
But
you
like
have to
MGM or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm about to get it because she got me hooked.
Yeah,
Like,
we were hanging out with a couple friends today, and she was like, "Yo, check this show out. You guys
Yeah.
will really dig it." So What do you think of it, Castellar? We're really excited to check it out. I'd like to get your opinions. Have you seen it, Keeshia?
Oh my gosh, I am a huge fan of From. I'm so glad
Really?
y'all guys are getting into it. It is
Yeah.
such a good series, and I started to notice when I watched season one. I was like, you know what? I think this is the creator of Lost. And then of course the
Mhm.
credits roll. It is the guy who created
Okay.
Lost, and I don't like Lost, but this show is, oh my gosh, it's just great. I love the actors. You know, they do an amazing job. I mean, especially with the whole plot and the storyline. I mean, you can see so many things like from Stephen King universe, like all sliding up in the show. And
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we
and I
definitely
am,
want to
and
check it out.
Castellar, I am looking forward for the episode, you know, two myself, because I'm like, okay, I seen one. Okay, where is it? Where is it?
Right.
I'm having a
Well, we're gonna
panic.
check it out. I mean, we can't give any promises, but
Yeah.
you know, like I said, a very good friend of ours recommended it today, so
Mhm.
it's something that we're definitely gonna check out just out of respect.
For sure.
Hey, what's up, Ash? Nice to
Hey,
see you, buddy.
Ashton.
Not a bad movie here. Every horror franchise has at least one dumpster fire. Evil Dead and Scream, even though I did not care for 6, are probably the most consistent. I
Okay.
agree. I agree with you.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that in
I
a little
think
bit.
that.
The only Evil Dead movie I didn't really care for, but we'll talk about it soon. Oh, how are you?
Why?
All right.
Hey!
Are you
Can
doing
you hear
okay?
me? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The power flashed on and off a while ago, but it was like just a moment. So, and I'm
Okay.
still not hearing. It's raining, but it's not thundering and lightning yet. So, might have a couple hours. Although the airport has canceled a bunch of flights, so they're worried
Oh,
about.
jeez.
I
Yeah.
think the like the late night flights and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if at any reason you have to leave,
Yeah.
we get
Mhm.
it. We know that
Absolutely.
things can get crazy. We understand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're just glad that you're here. And
yes,
you're
we're
good.
glad that you're
Oh,
okay.
thank you.
Um,
I was here with my lantern. Like I if I have to, I jump on the phone. Put the lantern on.
Prepared.
you
This
would
time I
survive
found
the
a-
horror movie.
Yeah, thank you, Five Below, because this came from Five Below and has a fan on it, and I'm like,
Oh,
That's-
nice. That's
What?
that's the thing that kills you the most. Like I could deal without having power because I got my books, but it's the heat.
yeah.
You don't have
Oh.
the ACs with
I cannot
Really?
sleep without a fan. Like I have to have the noise of a fan. Like there's
Mhm.
when the power goes out and I don't have a fan, I can't sleep.
yeah, it's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
How are you, Keisha? I know you went through this a couple days ago because we were supposed to be on a live on Wednesday, and a storm passed through Texas, and she got hit with that one.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing all right. It's like nice and sunny, but then it got back cool. But yeah, that night, there was like a hailstorm, just a bunch of hail that hit my
Mhm.
hometown, Henderson, and a lot of people's cars was damaged. I was telling Ashley that even my aunt's car was damaged by the hail. She was making a call to her insurance. But we had like lots of flood, and of course my lights went out too. But you know, with the rain, you know, I fell
Mhm.
asleep. But it, like you said, it got so hot, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
go to Five and Below and get that my darn self. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Yeah.
baby, that I can't fuck with this Texas heat and this humidity. And
Yeah, I
stuff,
think
so
I'm gonna need that
Mhm.
too.
I know.
For that.
Flashlight and a fan. Like
Mhm.
Yeah, put
Right.
me in, coach. I want to play.
Right there, for
Uh,
weather.
So I told everybody, Lady Shasha, that you may be a little late or you may not be showing up. It all depended on the weather, but
Mhm.
she talked about the Random Horror Show and a little bit about what she does. For the people
Yes.
that haven't seen you on the channel before, can you tell people a little bit about what you do over at What Did I Just Watch?
Oh, sure. I talk about horror, sci-fi, and occasionally thriller movies, which I'd like to get more into these Tubi original thriller movies because they are on like Lifetime movie level. Like I feel like more people need to talk about them. And I love specifically when they do the black remakes. Like there's one, well, this one was from Lifetime. It was called Single Black Female, which clearly it's a remake of Single White Female. And I just love those. So I'm having fun with that. I'm working with Crystal, I should say wordsmith Crystal Connor, who's an award-winning horror author. She has just created her own film festival called the Cabin in the Woods Film Festival that will be happening this August, I think from the 23rd to the 26th. And you can definitely get
That's
more.
awesome.
Yeah, it's a big undertaking. It's very exciting, but I feel nervous at the same time because our first time doing this. Crystal has way more experience than me because she has officiated and judged at a ton of horror movie festivals. So she's got like a lock on how everything should go. I've been to a few movie festivals, and we have a Florida Film Festival down here that I helped worked on. Well, I just volunteered. I was not like part of the organizer. I was just a volunteer, but that's the extent of my experience with that. But we're really excited for that. Also on Mondays, I'm still on Hood Podcast, where we talk about news of the weird. Last week we had a Marvel versus DC conversation in lieu of the new Flash trailer, and then also everything that's going on with Jonathan Majors. We didn't really get into like the specifics. We just talked about how DC handles conflict with their actors versus how Marvel handles conflict with their actors, that type of conversation. And then we just went into the silly side of it with our own like guest casting of what we want, our dream casting of what we want.
Sure.
Okay.
See,
And one more thing before I forget, tomorrow night
no.
I'm going to be on the Guilty Pleasures crew. It's going to be on LD Madeira Magic. That's the channel is LD Madeira Magic, and we talk about just movies that are guilty pleasures. Like they could be extremely bad movies, horribly reviewed movies, but if we love them, whether we grew up watching them or they're just recent, you know, so bad we love them, we talk about those. So tomorrow we'll be talking about Clive Barker's Lord of Illusion and Sorority Girls and the Creature from Hell.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
And like I said at the top, I do have all of Keeshia and all of Lady Shasha's links in the description. So you can follow them on social media, keep up to date on what they're doing, and be a part of all these things that they're going to be doing in the future. So we'll get into that. We will get into that, buddy. What's up, Ryan? What's up, Nathan? Tony, please be safe in Orlando. Dice.
Hi, Dice.
We actually just got done filming with Dice a little while ago. Her in defensive episode, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. It turned out really cool.
Yeah, their channel is great. Yeah.
Oh, I love Dice to death. They're one of my favorite people. They are super incredible, and the movie that we defended was great. I had a great time with them.
Yeah.
That's Ashley's favorite horror movie. For those of you that didn't know,
that is my favorite horror movie. I love that movie.
Much love for People Under the Stairs. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Rebel?
Hello.
Oh, it's Robin now. I'm sorry. I'm so used to Rebel. Robin, nice to see you, buddy. Joe R. Lansdale is a good horror writer. Well, there's a horror writer for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, T. Parker.
We're all with the maggots now.
Yes.
Oh, hey, thank you for your donation, Sean.
Thanks,
and
Sean.
we're gonna go old school with you, my friend.
Ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby.
I love that. That's one of my favorite scenes of any horror movie.
Who heard Bruce Campbell's voice? Sometimes you just got to get groovy, my friend.
Groovy.
That was a double groovy for you.
Double it. Double it up.
Hey, J Dev, what's going on, buddy?
Hi, J Dev.
Yes, we're very excited to check out From.
Yes.
Very, very excited about that. Hey, you got canceled already, Keeshia. J Dev says
man.
Lost is amazing.
J Dev's out here canceling people already.
I don't even care about cancel culture. So I'm just like, okay.
Yes, exactly. Kessler says Florida has been declared a disaster zone. Be careful.
Geez.
So, yes,
Already?
please be careful down there.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
And that's well, technically you can declare us a disaster zone just based on our governor.
Yeah. That's a whole nother topic right
Yeah.
there. Oh boy.
Oh, he picked a fight with the mouse. We won't have to worry about him too much longer.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna get too political here, but not only did he pick a fight with a mouse, he picked a fight with the mouse and lost. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So, like, and I agree, Lady Shasha, anywhere she is, that is the place to be. 100% agree.
Thank you.
The Tank. I'll have to check that out. Please DM me, Kessler. I would love to be able to watch that. I lost power during last year's hurricane. No AC in Florida is the worst. It was so
I can
hot.
only imagine.
Well, 5 Below, Tony.
Yeah.
Lady Shasha covered us.
There you go. 5 Below is gonna be running out of.
So that, yeah, they're gonna be running
fans.
out. Hey, Jeanette, thank you
Hi,
so
Jeanette.
much. All right, guys. So we are going to get started, and I'm going to get started with my least favorite. Now, I do want to say right off the top, if you're making a list that goes from your least favorite to your favorite, you got to have a least favorite.
Yeah.
Even if it's a bunch of movies that you absolutely love. And we are including Ash versus the Evil Dead, the TV show. So,
Mhm.
you know, with all these things, you're going to have a least favorite.
I did the TV show as like
Yes, just as a whole.
one.
Yes.
Yes.
Not
I didn't
by
do
season,
by season.
just
no.
as a whole.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I'm coming in hot. My least favorite is the OG Evil Dead. Again, I love this movie. I think this movie's fantastic. I think that it's so goofy and scary, and you know, regular, you know, the claymation effects, I still love them to this day, even though they haven't really aged that
Mhm.
well. The practical stuff is great. But it lacks a lot of what I love in Evil Dead, and that is Ash is a bitch in this movie. Like
he like doesn't help his
Yeah,
friends
like,
at all. He
he's
just kind of like
such-
stands back and watches them like get attacked.
Yeah, he's such a bitch, and there is some really shoddy acting throughout. Like Scotty, I love Scotty, but there's certain moments. It is the woods, Ash. You know, it's just ridiculous. And as everybody knows, sexual assault is something that I think is pretty lame, and there's a pretty lame scene in this movie of sexual assault that I just don't care to watch. At least, you know, you don't see anything per se, but it's still something that I'm not a huge fan of. But again, this is better than 90% of movies in other franchises. But if you're ranking something, you got to have a least favorite on that list. For me personally, I'm going with the OG Evil Dead. What
Okay.
about you, my love?
So my least favorite is going to be Army of Darkness. And I don't hate the movie. I do appreciate that they tried to get him out of the cabin in the woods. They're doing something different. But I just feel like it's more of like a comedy, like action. There's not a lot of horror in it. You know, I do love Bad Ash. I think that
Bad Ash
I
is
like
great.
Bad Ash. And I like the little ashes too. Those crack me up.
fair lady.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't hate this line. You get some of, you know, the iconic "this is my boomstick" and S for S smart or shop smart, like
Shop S smart.
shot. Yeah, that one. I love all that. I don't hate this movie, but it's my least favorite, and it's because I feel like 2 was such a good mixture of comedy and horror that this one is strictly just more comic.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
So
I respect it ish.
yeah.
Well, what about you, Keeshia? What is your least favorite in the Evil Dead franchise?
I'm gonna have to go with Ashley because Army of Darkness.
Frowned upon.
Everything I like about it, I do. I like a whole, you know, there was like some continuity thing because, you know, after Evil Dead was like this really like huge cult hit, and you have to wait for a long time, and then that's when Army of Darkness came out. I think that like with the prolonging of it and just waiting for that sequel, you know, the continuation for Ash, it does have its camp, and it does like, and I love comedy also. There was some like good parts, especially, you know, when he got knocked in the hole and stranger from the store, you know, he threw the
Yeah.
chainsaw and like I love all of that right there. But it's like, you know, it's just some things about it that it was like one couple of parts when they was like in the little hut thing where he went to go look for the books and stuff to recant and recite the words. I feel that part right here, that part was just the longest drag in the movie.
Yeah.
That part dragged so long for it to like kick back up and then get
Sure.
the ball rolling. I do like the skeletons, you know, the stop motion skeletons, like, and that was so funny, you know, and everything, but it just didn't age very well, you know, within like how it is. But you know, I do appreciate like practical effects, stop motion, all of that. That is an art form within itself, but it's just my least favorite.
Again, if you're making a list, there's got to be a bottom
Yeah.
and there's got to be a top.
It totally retcons Army of Darkness Evil Dead 2, because in the end of it he was like the hero, and then this one they come back and they like
Hate him.
Yeah, they hate him.
But then again, Evil Dead 2 kind of retcons Evil Dead 1.
Oh, absolutely.
So
it does.
I get that part. So how about you, Lady Shasha? What is your least favorite?
I'm gonna say the same thing. Army of Darkness.
Oh, for fuck's
That's but be forewarned, I have not rewatched Army of Darkness since it first came out in the 90s. I just never felt like rewatching it. I saw it that one time and I have a little bit of memory of it, and it never stuck with me to watch it again. So that's why I would say it was my least. Not that it's necessarily all that bad. It just didn't grab me as much as some of the other Evil Dead movies. And I did see the series, but I didn't finish the series, so I didn't want to judge it without having finished the entire series. I think I only saw the first season.
So we'll just do that as an honorable mention for you then, that you had the series as an honorable mention.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's fine. So we'll catch up on the chat real quick before we go to our second. Florida is a tale of two halves. Some of the best and horrible weather in the world. J-Dev says 5, The Evil Dead 1981. Hasn't watched a TV show. Yes, we are. Okay. Least favorite is Evil Dead 2013. The Abomination is upset with your pick, Dice. Just started season 2 of Ash vs. the Evil Dead. I love that show.
We binged
It is morbid. We did.
Like for a second
It's
time.
funny that we
watched it and like couldn't wait, for like the next seasons to come out, and then we rewatched it and like binged the entire thing
in like 3 days.
Yeah,
I just couldn't stop watching.
But
it's so good.
It's the ending of it. Ugh, I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah,
but
we'll get there.
Yeah,
I agree. There is not a bad thing in the Evil Dead franchise.
I don't think so either.
Dancing Dead.
It's one of my favorites.
Even the video games were awesome. Hail to the King, Fist Full of Boomstick. Like I love even the new one. I love it. Army of Darkness has its moments, and Bruce Campbell is great. Everything else is a mess. Come on, it has Miss Honey from Matilda. Let's not forget about Miss Honey, okay? Yeah, see, I feel like a lot of people, except for the fucking panel, has Evil Dead at the bottom. I don't feel as bad now. Evil Dead Rise was too predictable. Have the Deadites look human to mess with people more. Again, there's things we'll talk about with Evil Dead Rise that. Oh, hey, no, you know what, Jeanette? Again, we're going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but, we will have a little bit of spoilers in here. Army, OG, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead Rise, and then the remake of Evil Dead is a favorite. Nice. Oh, wow, Robin, you got Evil Dead Rise at the bottom.
Okay.
Oh.
I have a question for you. Theatrical ending or alternate ending? Are you talking about Army of Darkness? We have the theatrical one where he comes back, or the alternate ending where he goes way into the future? Is that what we're talking about here? Maniac Cop is so great. We'll talk about it in just a second. Rise is my least favorite in the franchise. Full of 5s, and a 4 is not so bad. I get that. Yes, with little midget Sam, where you're kicking him around. So good. Or we watched that so much. Played that so much. You didn't.
I didn't. I watched you kick Sam around a bunch of times.
All the time. I would just sit there and kick him and listen to all the funny things he would say. Hey, what's up, Bronson? How you doing, buddy? All right, guys. So we will get to our now. Again, this is gonna be a little bit different because Lady Shasha has the Evil Dead TV show as an honorable mention. So we just did our number 6s. We're gonna count Lady Shasha's number 6 as Evil Dead the TV show, and then we'll count her number 5 as Army of Darkness. So we'll skip you on this round just so we can all stay up to par. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So your number 5 is Army of Darkness. What is your number 5, babe?
So my number 5 is the OG Evil Dead. Again, don't hate the movie. What you have to appreciate it for what it is and what it has built. Yeah. The budget was very small. Like, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, they're the ones that raised the money to make this, and most of the actors are their families and friends. So you have, like I said, you have to appreciate it. And yeah, some of the special effects and stuff, they don't look the greatest, or they don't age well, but still it's a good movie, even though Bruce Campbell, he isn't the Bruce Campbell that we love now. Like, he's very like he pushed back a little bit.
Just say he's a bitch.
He is a little bit of a bitch. Like, he watches his friends, and like he doesn't jump in and help at all. Like, the Bruce Campbell we know and love today would totally have helped his friends out.
You just said the B word.
Shut up. But yeah, like Sam Raimi, even in this, his artistic eye for like shots, like close up on his face and stuff like that, and like the shot where you're going through the back of the cabin all the way to the front, and it like punches Bruce Campbell in the face at the end.
Yeah, the very
where
end.
where he's riding the bike,
Yeah.
like phenomenal. Like his eye for that kind of stuff is awesome.
And you just mentioned that. We mentioned that on our Versus episode. I was going to talk about that, but it took him a long time to get that shot because, like you just said, all the moving parts. The person was literally riding a bike.
Yeah,
with
through
the camera,
woods,
through the woods, up through the door, through the front, and they had to have people opening the doors at the precise right time. And that's such a cool thing to watch. Like it's such a dope thing to watch.
But I mean, Ash Williams, he is just another generic final boy. Like he's not.
But what is he though?
Huh?
What is he?
He's kind of a bitch.
Okay, you said it again.
I did.
We got Ashley saying the B word twice on the stream. People remember that. Good choice. How about you, Keeshia? What's your number 4 or number 5? Number 5.
Number 5. I'm gonna have to go with Ash versus Evil Dead.
Okay.
I mean, I like it. You know, I just feel like, I mean, it was cool to like see like a different side of Ash, but you know, a lot of people like applaud and lauded Ash, you know, in Evil Dead 2, like, you know, Ash just said in 1, he was just like a biatch.
Oh, we got another one.
Yeah.
But in Army of Darkness and like you know, Ash versus Evil Dead, dude's pretty much a dick. Like he's an asshole. He literally is an asshole. You know,
he's very vain.
Smart. You know, he's a manager, and you know, like years and years later, you know, he's still working his same job. He's like miserable and stuff. He's just being a dick. But
yeah,
he's an anti-hero. That's what I like about him. He's like an anti-hero. He's not like really considered like bad or like really, you know, like amazingly great like a hero, but he's just an average guy, you know, making an average salary, and he just got caught up in some bullshit, and so he is selfish, but he's like, shit, let me go save him. But he comes off as a dick, but like a nice dick.
It's realistic. It's realistic because anyone who's ever worked retail knows that half of the managers are assholes. I think it's a requirement that you have to be an asshole in order to get recruited to retail management.
For sure.
You do, and I work retail, and baby, I'm just like, I'm so glad I'm out of that, because I'm just like, I'm ready to box people.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he I think he's like perfect, like how his character is. But it's just something, I mean, and it was great that he had like, you know, Pedro and the other chick with him, and of course, like Lucy Lawless is, you know, in there as Ruby. And I felt that was like really great, but it sometimes can get a little bit sidetracked a little bit, you know, but it did like go back, you know, like at the season of where everything was in, and when he ended up in his hometown. And if y'all have played the video game, like that was on PS2, I love that video game. That game was badass. But I like, you know, the ending of you know, Ash versus Evil Dead. But you know, like sometimes like how a series is so good, and then it just kind of falls off a little bit, you know, adding some fillers, but it's not, you know, it wasn't too bad. But yeah, that's number 5.
I agree. And I do want to put a caveat here. Ash vs. the Evil Dead is my number 5. If Ash vs. the Evil Dead would have had a better ending, it could have been all the way up to number 2. The ending bummed me out, but I absolutely love Kelly. I love Pedro. Like you said, Xena Warrior Princess, Lucy Lawless, she's fucking phenomenal as the villain.
What's their group name? Don't they have a group name? The 3 of them?
I can't remember. Yeah, Bruce Campbell always calls him something. Ash always calls him. But like, I genuinely cried in this show. Like when Pablo got killed, like I cried in that episode. Like I was like, no.
I know, because you like care for them so much.
I do. And I thought it was scary. Like it really brought back, like you said, they really brought back the horror aspect of things. Bruce is still Bruce. You know, Ash is Ash. He's literally rolling weed with the Necronomicon because he can't find papers. It's just, you know, that's who he is. And like they go deeper into the like into the lore of the Necronomicon in this one, and you kind of learn like some of the other demons and some of the other deadites, like the head deadites and stuff. Like the one that doesn't have the eyes. Like I think it was scary as hell.
Yeah.
Kind of looked like the Chomper from Hellraiser. Or Chatterer, I'm sorry. But yeah, I if this would have had a better ending, like I gotta judge it as a whole. And if it would have had a better ending, like I said, this could have been number 2.
Yeah.
Like that's how much I love the show. And like I said, Kelly and Pablo, they added so much, like giving Ash those real sidekicks to go along with him. Yeah, that's where we're at there. So we'll catch up on the chat and then we'll get to our number 4s. Do you prefer the Army of Darkness ending where Ash comes back and he's the Hail to the King? Or the alternate ending where he says the words wrong and goes way into the future and the world's like apocalyptic and over?
The Hail to the King one. I like that one better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4, The Evil Dead. And again, a lot of people are saying that. So are you saying, Kessler, are you saying Evil Dead 2 is your least favorite and then Evil Dead Rise is your favorite? I just got to know. Like, I need this closure here. Yeah, I do think this is when Ash is at his best too. I noticed I haven't talked about Army of Darkness yet.
No, I mean he's funny. He's very ashy.
Ashy.
Army
of Darkness is number 3 for Dice.
And if you notice, like Bruce Campbell really like pumped up for that role of Army of Darkness. And of course, that like made my head swivel. I was like, "Dang, bro!
Yeah,
what's up, baby?"
Yeah.
You know,
he's like, "I ain't a bitch no more."
Right? He's like,
yeah,
"I'm a man now. I'm a man."
They do always recast Linda. That's so funny. They disrespect everybody. I love this hashtag nice dick. I thought that when you said it, Keeshia, but I was gonna let it go. I was like, when you were like,
nice dick.
You were like, he's a nice dick.
Love it. Hashtag nice dick.
Heck yeah.
Beer, babes, and boomstick.
That's
For
right.
Army of Darkness. My least favorite is the 2013 reboot. Don't care for the characters or the drug addict storyline.
Wow. Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
We'll get into that in a little bit. Bubba Hotep, Elvis Bruce. Love Bubba Hotep.
Yes.
Love it.
That's so funny.
There's a bug in here, man. It's as big as my fist or a goddamn peanut butter banana sandwich. Love that movie. The other 5, Evil Dead 2013. 2 things that can't happen in real life. 1, bring someone back to life with a car battery. 2, Mia ripping her arm off to get the chainsaw.
Which is so
makes sense.
Gory.
It is gory. It's awesome.
I love it.
So Keeshia, do you want to give us your number 4?
My number 4 is gonna be the Evil Dead 2013.
Okay.
The gore is like mwah. Real super just I like some really juicy, nasty gore. And it was perfect. I kind of was like on the fence about it. And the first time I watched it, I was like, it's all right. And then I watched it again. I was like, oh dear, you know, this is like really, really gory. And I know somebody said about they didn't care about the storyline of the drug addict. So it kind of was like a little bit personal to me with that. Because I know somebody, you know, that had a drug addiction. So it felt realistic, you know, just with the whole storyline of it. I just had a conversation with my daughter and her friend, and the one they really like is, you know, the 2013 version, and it's because they felt it was just it was realistic. Like you can, you know, understand like what the characters are going through, you know, how they're feeling. I mean, even down to where was it like the she got her like foot or like arm like snapped off, and you just feel that you're like, oh, you know, you're like that. It's like a lot of gross moments. You're like, oh my God, I felt that. You know, you're just like, dang, you know, what if that happened to me? You know, that's like the you know, what they were discussing. I was like, you know what, that makes a valid point, you know, because if you see something and it happened to somebody and it's just real messed up, and you're just like, oh my gosh, you know, you can imagine it, but just can't imagine just the pain of it. And so that's it right there.
Okay. How about you, Lady Shasha? What's your number 4?
My number 4 is actually Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn, which is interesting because that used to be my favorite when I was a teenager. Like I watched that over and over and over again. I the first time, actually, the first time I saw the Evil Dead movies, I saw them in reverse order. They came on HBO, and I had, you know, my little VCR in my room, and I recorded them. The first one they played was Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, and then after that they played Evil Dead, and so I was like, well, what's this? And I saw it. I guess I experienced it the way he meant for it to be experienced,
Yeah.
because he said that Evil Dead 2 was really a remake of Evil Dead. So I
Yeah.
saw I saw Evil Dead 2, loved it. I was, you know, perfect age to watch it. I was either 13 or 14 years old. All the comedy in it, loved it. Then watched the original, which was so much creepier than the sequel. The sequel gave you more gore moments, but the original was way creepier. So,
Mhm.
but as I've gotten older and there have been more Evil Dead movies to come out, that one I don't enjoy watching it as much as an adult as I did when I was a kid. It just didn't.
That
I
makes
guess it didn't
sense.
hold out, maybe.
Mhm.
But I
Okay.
do still like Henrietta.
Oh yeah.
I
Heck yeah.
still like the stop motion Henrietta and her with the thing. Dead by dawn, dead by dawn.
Come to
Somebody
my
should make a little
fruit
doll.
salad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
She's so creepy though.
Ted Raimi,
That-
man. He's the
Yeah,
man.
He is.
That would be so cool to have as a Halloween decoration in your front yard. A little trap door
Yeah.
with Henrietta just.
Dead by Dawn. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that. Good choice. I wouldn't have put Evil Dead 2 that low, but that's
Mhm.
why we do this. If we all had the same list, this wouldn't be any fun.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So number 4 for me, I got to go with my man here.
Yeah. All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. See this? This is my boomstick.
Yes, yes, yes. Now look, I know that Army of Darkness gets a lot of hate on it because it's more comical.
Yeah.
But what we got to remember here is this was made by a different studio
Right.
than what had made Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. That's why they couldn't use the name Evil Dead 3 for this. They
Mhm.
couldn't even use Ash versus the Army of Darkness, which was one of the original titles as well. So they had to come up with a completely different name, and the studio took it in a completely different direction than what Sam Raimi had initially wanted. So the final product is not probably what Sam Raimi would have loved to have done in the long run, but
Mhm.
of all the Evil Dead movies, this is probably the one I've quoted the most throughout my life. Just the "This is my boomstick," you know, I absolutely love that. I love, you know, Miss Honey in this movie just because I'm a huge Matilda fan too.
Mhm.
Like we said, Bad Ash, I think he's awesome. The part with all the little mirror, you know, and they put the nail up. London Bridge is falling down. My fair lady. That shit is awesome. Like, it's so funny. I love when his face gets sucked in, like when he's trying to open the books and he's got that elongated face. He has to like Warner Brothers, like
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny his way out of it. There's just, and then, you know, forgetting the words.
He's just like
Klaatu, Verata. Did you say the words? I said most of the words. Yeah. He had 3 words to remember. He couldn't remember
right.
that. I think it's great. It's a fantastic movie. It's something else. I've always been a really big fan of science fiction. I've been a big fan, you know, like fantasy, you know, like
Mhm.
Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, like things like that, like the fantasy aspect of movies as well. So to see this really be like a horror, sci-fi, fantasy comedy, it kind of combines all the things that I love into one film. So if I was looking at this as strictly like a horror movie list, this would probably be at the bottom.
Yeah.
But when it comes to what these movies mean to me, Army of Darkness has to be higher up on the list because it was said in the chat earlier. I think this is Bruce Campbell's best performance as Ash. This is where he really comes out of his shell to become Ash Williams. So yeah, number 4 for me is going to be Evil Dead 3, Ash versus the Army of Darkness.
Okay. My number 4 is Ash versus Evil Dead. I really did enjoy this series. I liked how it paid homage to all the classical movies, but yet it was still its own. Like, you didn't have to actually see the other movies to follow along with this. Bruce Campbell as Ashley, you know,
Ashley Slashy.
Ashley Slashy. Yeah, I love that. But I mean, he was a nice dick. Hashtag nice dick. But I mean, that's just his, you know, personality. And like you talked about Pablo and Kelly, you really cared about those characters. I love them. Like, like you said, when Pablo died, like we were upset about that. And their little gang, I don't remember what their little gang was called, but they had a name for it.
Yeah.
But again, the ending, I hated how it ended. I felt like I didn't get closure. Which really sucked. Like I was very bummed out by that last the last episode.
Well, because we were so invested in the show.
Yeah.
You know, like I loved that show, and the way it ended, I was so heartbroken.
It didn't, I don't know, it didn't make sense the way they ended it. I was very disappointed.
Okay. So that's everybody did theirs, right?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So we now have a hashtag nice dick trending down here at the bottom.
I've seen that.
So we will catch up on the chat real quick. Hey, what's up, Steve? Thanks for stopping out, buddy. Number 3, Evil Dead Rise. Ellie is by far the best and scariest Deadite.
I will talk about that.
Dean R. Koontz, that's one of my favorite authors. As you know, I was reading in junior high. You know, I was reading Dean R. Koontz novels and Stephen King.
Yeah,
I think I still have some sitting right here. Do I have them?
One too. Hold on.
Yep.
I got.
Yep, he's down here, right there.
Nice.
Dean Koontz. Yeah. Seize the night and fear nothing.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. My stepmom loves Dean Koontz. Evil Dead Rise. Love Beth, the main Deadite, and the kills, but it needed more character development and a bit more gore. Lady Shasha agrees that Watchers is great. Dean Koontz. If you mean the new Guardians of the Galaxy, hell yeah. I can't wait to go see it. We haven't seen it yet.
We haven't seen it
but
yet.
I'm very excited to see it.
Yes.
I love those movies. I think that the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are probably my favorite thing Marvel's done, honestly.
Pretty close, yeah. I love those movies.
See, I think when it comes to movies, I prefer Marvel. When it comes to comics, I've always preferred DC. DC was always kind of like darker for me when it came to the comics. That was kind of my thing. With a mummy that is Tales from the okay.
I still watch Tales from the Dark Side, the movie.
Yes.
And it has Deborah Harry, who's singer Blondie. I still enjoy that movie. And that had Christian Slater and I believe Steve Buscemi, like with the whole mummy. The
mummy one. That's the one that they're talking about. The cast I was talking about.
I love that one. And it also
has
Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore was in it too.
And Ray Don Chong played a gargoyle.
The cat in that, so gnarly. What's up, Matt?
Hey, Matt.
How you doing, buddy? Evil Dead 2. I know he fights in this one, but this one because of Bobby Joe and the hit guy.
Oh yeah, Bobby Joe was annoying.
See, I think this too, T. Parker. Oh, yeah, how he's doing the cuts.
Yeah.
It's so great. Medieval Dead would have been a better title. I think that the other studio was probably like, nice try, Sam.
Yeah.
But no, that would have been a great one, though. Yes, the Ash puppet was fantastic.
Yes.
Loved it.
Yes.
Our friend Liz Zombie
She
has the Ashy Slashy puppet.
That's
love it.
Cool.
Yeah. Evil Dead from 1981. Didn't like it the first time. That's why it took me a few years to watch the sequel. That's fair. Yep, me too. I have not. Have you guys seen the Talk to Me trailer?
Yes.
Don't remember.
Yes,
it sounds familiar, but I don't remember whether I saw it or not.
It's
I'm gonna have to...
it's from the UK, and it's like how we have like Bloody Mary that we through the mirror.
Yeah.
But it's like Talk to Me, but it's like this hand, like kind of like a monkey paw.
Oh yes, I saw it.
Yes,
I saw that trailer.
right
Yes,
there from
where the girl, she has to hold
2024.
the statue's hand and say, "Talk to me."
Yes.
Yeah, I did see that trailer.
Yes.
Okay, we'll have to check that out because I haven't seen that yet. I'm very excited. If it's kind of like the monkey paw, I'm in. I know it's off topic, but are you excited for the Flash? Okay. I'm excited for Michael Keaton to be reprising his role as Batman. I'm very nervous to go see this movie because I think Ezra's a douche. I hate that fucking guy, the kid that plays the Flash, and the storyline of him like trying to stay in the same timeline as his mother so he can be with his mom because she's still alive will fucking wreck me as a human being. So this will probably be one that will be a home watch for us. Just because, like I said, like anything with dead moms is like,
oh yeah,
I'm out.
Or
like it's
or dead dads.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking cry. Like when I tell you guys that I sobbed in the theater watching Creed 3, Like
Yeah.
I like thought I was gonna have to leave because I was
Well,
disturbing the rest of the
That's
theater.
like me
Like,
with
it
the
was-
newest Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters,
Like
yeah.
I don't cry at anything, but that ending of Ghostbusters had me.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how Creed 3 was. Like I was literally like had to put my head in my hands. And I'm like
Mhm.
sobbing into my hands. Like anything with moms, I can't handle it. So the
Right.
Flash, like I said, you get Keaton back, you get Ben Affleck back, which I think is cool because I don't
Mhm.
think Ben Affleck did terrible.
Mhm.
Anybody can play Batman. Let me say that. Ben Affleck didn't do as bad at Bruce Wayne as I thought he would do. So
Except for George Clooney, I didn't like him as Batman. I think Val Kilmer was really great as
yeah,
Batman.
I mean, like when these guys play
I did.
Batman, to me, it's just like, hi, I'm Batman. Like that shit doesn't bother me. How they portray Bruce Wayne is what
Yeah.
what I look at, and Keaton will always be my favorite, like because he is that like sarcastic, like he is Bruce Wayne to me. That'll never change.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. My favorite Steve Martin movie has, and always will be Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Mm,
It's a good
I like
movie.
that
That's
one.
with John
Yeah, that
Candy.
one.
That's a
That
good
one's so
one.
sad. That's
I-
the one that we watch every Thanksgiving.
Every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, even our son cries at that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
that's a
The
good-
Jerk.
The Jerk's
That's
good.
one
The
of my
Jerk.
favorites too. It's
Yes.
the Jerk. The Jerk is my favorite one from Steve
The-
Martin.
So we got 2 Planes, Trains, we got 2 Jerks.
Mhm.
You jerks. Peter Straub and Stephen King books, The Talisman and the sequel, The Black House, are tremendous. I'll have to check those out.
Yeah.
I feel you can. I love Keaton's Batman. I'm going for that, but I think Ezra's just a bad human being. Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck. Oh, okay. Keaton is Beetlejuice, yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
You didn't like? Yeah, but see, that's the thing though. Like, you didn't like him as Bruce Wayne. I get that, but like, just when he was under the mask and he was fighting, I thought Pattinson did okay. You know, like, I don't know. Like, I don't think he was as bad as I want to see. We were just talking about this the other
I
day.
thought he did good as Bruce Wayne too.
But we were talking about the
Every-
other day. Like, I want to see Robert Pattinson. I want to see him in a remake of American Psycho, playing the
Yeah,
lead from
yeah.
American Psycho,
I
playing
think
Patrick
he would
Bateman.
do good. Yeah.
I think Robert Pattinson would be a great Patrick Bateman. Like,
Mhm.
and I haven't stopped thinking about it since that day. Like, I think he could kill it as Patrick Bateman. But I'm a big Robert Pattinson fan. Like, when I seen him in Twilight, like I wasn't a huge fan of the Twilight movies. Like, I thought like some of the fight sequences were super good.
Mhm.
But then like I seen him in like Remember Me and The Lighthouse and like all these other, and I'm like, God, this kid can act.
He can.
Like, he's so fucking good. And I'm a big Pattinson fan ever since I seen The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse sold me. Like, watching that movie, I was like, God, this kid is good. Like, he's good. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he has coming up in the future.
I thought he was a good vampire.
Yeah, he's a little sparkly for me.
He was sparkly.
Oh, My Blue Heaven's a fantastic Steve Martin movie. That's a sad movie though. Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne Batman will always be my favorite, but Keaton is a close second.
Mm.
Hey, what's up, John?
Hey, John.
Robert Pattinson, Dr. Frankenstein. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, I can fuck with that. So now we're up to number 3, and that'll be Lady Shasha starting us off.
Okay, so now I have to defend Evil Dead Rise. Since everyone didn't seem to get what I got out of it. It would come close to the top, except for I felt like it started out way more promising than it finished. Like the whole opening sequence at the cabin, that had me on the edge of my seat. Like the way that was done.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not spoil it, but there's a scene in the cabin involving 2 young ladies, and it's super tense and really
Mhm.
creepy. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
you're
if
like,
this movie
"Oh!"
keeps this tone, oh my God, I'm gonna, and it's been a while
Yeah.
since a movie has made me feel nervous or tense. Like I feel like I tell people when you watch horror, it's kind of like building a muscle. When you watch it too
Mhm.
much, you kind of like become desensitized. So it was cool to feel that nervousness again, to feel that
Yeah.
fear watching a horror movie. I love that. Now, where they lost me was when they did certain cheats. And I call these cheats. Like when you make an apartment extremely like it's always dark no matter how many lamps they have on. Like that's a cheat. And then making it the most depressing looking apartment I've ever seen. It made the semi basement from Parasite look like Better Homes and Gardens. This apartment without any deadites, you would just you wouldn't want to live there. And I feel like that's cheating. That's not real. You're not making it real scary if you already make the place just kind of a place no one would ever live. And then I like the garage stuff. I have an affinity for movies that take place in apartment buildings because they don't happen that often. So
Right.
I'm also going to defend Poltergeist 3 for that same reason. But
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
My favorite. That's my favorite in the
The
franchise.
third one,
Yeah.
yeah.
100%.
But yeah,
That's-
I think
Poltergeist 3
and
is
I
my
loved
favorite in that whole franchise.
I
Mhm.
love the
I agree.
callbacks to many of the different parts of the series. Like
Mhm.
my friend was asking me, there's a eyeball scene, and I was like, well, that's a callback to Evil Dead 2.
Yep.
And I was like, thank you for including that. I like that. But yeah,
Mhm.
I thought it was pretty for what it was. I think it was pretty good. I think it's a great direction to take Evil Dead in to make it so that it could happen anywhere.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then adding the earthquake and it aspect in it, because you always have to make a reason for why someone can't leave, even though with Evil Dead it would just follow you anyways. So you
Mhm.
kind of didn't have to do that because it's going to follow you wherever you go.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought those were good elements, but it was pretty creepy. I like the gore. I think they could have went harder with the cheese grater scene. I was disappointed. I was that they kind of built that up in the trailer, and then it's like that's all you did with that. That could have been way
Right.
grosser.
Could have been worse. Yeah.
But the actress that played the main Deadeye, I think she did a fantastic job.
Oh,
Like she
so
really
good.
nailed it.
Mhm.
Alyssa Sutherland.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
she was
yeah.
fantastic. Well, let's keep that train rolling because my number 3 is Evil Dead Rise. I do have major qualms with this movie though. Like
Mhm.
I really do. I think that there were certain storylines that they tried to build for emotional investment that never went anywhere.
Mhm.
I think that you had again, I'm not going to go too deep, but you had a pregnancy storyline that just didn't go anywhere. You had a divorce storyline that just didn't go anywhere. And to me, you were talking about cheapness, like that to me were like cheap,
Mhm.
like emotional grabs. Like, well, how can we make these
Mhm.
people more emotional? Well, this one wants to go to a boycott. This one loves to do tattoos. Like, build your characters a little. Give me a little bit more of a backstory on them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm with you. The opening sequence, phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I will say, my absolute favorite of all time title card sequence ever.
It does
When you
look
have her
awesome.
rising
Yes.
and then
Yes.
Mhm.
that, like, I literally have little emo goosebumps right now.
Yeah. And
just
Yes.
just the
thinking about that moment.
intensifying of the music.
Yes, that is my
Mhm.
favorite title sequence of all time. I think every actor in this movie was phenomenal, and I think the little girl is going to be something very special.
Mhm.
She made me feel so many things throughout the movie, you know, whether it's like irritation, you know, sadness, wanting to save her. Like her character and the way that she played her character was phenomenal.
Yeah.
She made me feel like I was watching my own child.
She
'cause-
reminded me of
Mhm.
Kinley.
yeah, because I'm like, don't do that. What the fuck are you doing? You
Yeah.
know, like, and this is
She
a movie
reminded me
where
of
For
the
Daphne.
little girl from Poltergeist,
Yes.
Carol Ann.
Real work.
She was
Yep.
giving yes.
And I love what I would do. My logical next choice, because I'm not going to talk about the ending because the film is fresh, but
Mhm.
you could follow the characters that happens at the end of this film. 'Cause that's another thing I didn't
Mhm.
like. You get absolutely no closure with our characters in this
Yeah.
film. You don't know
Yeah.
what happened. You have that weird cut. I would do a prequel and go after the priests that you hear on the record.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
would
Yeah.
love to see that story get told. Like as we're watching it, I'm writing that movie in my head. Like, wow, this is
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
And something Ashley and I talked about on a live episode we did on Instagram. We've been doing some Instagram AMAs, and one thing that bummed me out about the movie because it's so goddamn smart. For those of you that don't know, Ashley and I wrote an Evil Dead 2 fan film. And in our Evil Dead 2 fan film, it takes place exactly 30 years after the events of Evil Dead 2. And it is what happened if Bruce Campbell never came back, if Ash never came back to this plane of existence in this time period. And if you guys recall, in Evil Dead and in Evil Dead 2, we never got any closure on what happened to Professor Noby. Did he die? Did he live? What happened to Professor Noby? We saw, an apparition of him, but that could have just been the book fucking with us. So what if Professor and Henrietta Noby's son, who didn't go to the cabin with them, 30 years later is a professor of his own, and he's searching for other volumes of the Necronomicon, because in the real lore, there are more than one volume of the Necronomicon, much like an Evil Dead Rise, which pisses me off because that was my idea first. And he's going to find these other incantations of the Necronomicon to try to figure out what happened to his father in Evil Dead 2. So when I saw that they had different volumes of the Necronomicon, I was like, shit,
Yeah.
We were too late on that one. So, but overall,
I don't know if we were too late. We just didn't have the budget.
yeah, we didn't have the
Mhm.
budget. But Evil Dead Rise, I think is good. But what I agree with what Bruce Campbell said. They want to do like their own Evil Dead metaverse, where it's a different movie every year. And he said he wants to start doing it maybe every 2 years rather than every 10, rather than 2013, 2023. I would love to see like Evil Dead at a ski resort, like Deadites coming out of the snow. Like I would love to see
Everybody
something like
wants
that.
to see people in the snow, killing in the snow, blood
I know,
in
like
the
the
snow.
blood in the snow, like
Awesome.
or like, could you imagine on like a cruise ship, like the Evil Dead cruise? Like there's so many ways you could do this if you want to, but if you go into it knowing every single one of these movies is an anthology. We're going to a different location with different people in every single film. I think that could be dope. Like, I think that could be dynamite. Like, even at different time periods, like the Salem witch trials. The reason they were witches is because they were Deadites.
Hell yeah.
Like you can have all these different things and all these different locations at different places. Oh God, they rate themselves. Mr. Raimi, I'm available. Hit me up.
There's one thing I did not like at the end of the movie, but it's a major spoiler, so I won't say it. But until we get to like a section where we're talking spoilers, but there's one thing in Evil Dead Rise I thought was so unnecessary, and like it's like it's all right, but that's not part of Evil Dead. That's part of a whole nother franchise.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the
extra,
the shunting?
Yes.
See,
that's a great way to describe it. That way, if you've seen the movie,
right. The way I'm gonna.
I seen that too.
I was
the
like,
only thing I want to say,
horror movies in this film.
I think it could have worked if it was practical, but they switched. It looked like they switched to CGI, and I was like, "This is why did you do that? You were doing so well."
To defend that, because I had somebody else tell me that they're like, "Dude, they never had anything like that in any other movie." And the way I defend that, and this is just me, the other movies were a different volume of the Necronomicon. This is a brand new volume of a Necronomicon that we have not seen before.
Yeah.
So, and even in the lore, there's 7 Necronomicons, and the 7th book is the one that can undo the spells of the other books. So who's to say that the Necronomicons don't get, gnarlier as they go?
Yeah.
So like I love that shunting. I wish it would have been practical, like you said.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. I'm not against
like,
the actual thing being there because it was in the book. You see the drawing of it in the book. It's just the execution of how they made it look. I was like, this is giving the thing. What was it? Was that 2009 The Thing vibes where they had went over all the practical effects with the CGI and it just didn't.
Oh, God, I need to watch this movie again because we've only seen it the one time. So with it being so fresh, but that my first thing was the shunting. I was like, oh, okay. But then, like I said, I'm with you. A lot of the CGI in this movie I thought was bad. When they did the practical shit, it was awesome. Like the homage to The Shining with the elevator blood. I was like, because that was all real.
Yeah.
They had
Did you notice that the son's name was Danny? Also,
Danny.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's so many different cool homages in this film, and if you guys haven't seen it, we're trying to keep it. Everything we've talked about has been in the trailer.
In the trailer, yeah.
So I can't recommend it enough. Even if you're not into it, if it's not a movie that you love, it's still worth watching. Like I had a lot of fun with it. I'll be watching it. We'll own it obviously when it comes out. We'll watch it again. I'm hoping that we get an unrated cut so we can get a little bit gnarlier with like the cheese grater and shit. But I would love to see, like I said, an expansion of the Evil Dead universe. I think that would be super cool. So
absolutely.
Do you want to give us your
number 3? So I'm just gonna hop on this train. My number 3 is Evil Dead Rise. You guys really talked about most of the good and the bad. I am obsessed with Alyssa Sutherland. Like as Ellie in this, her performance was so amazing, and I just think she's so beautiful. Even as like the Deadite, like she's a very beautiful woman. And I love how
even as the Deadite,
like I think she still looks pretty. Even as the Deadite,
I think she was pretty too as a Deadite. Like it's a grotesque type of beauty, but it was still there.
I liked it. And I love how right off the rip you get that first person shot, like going through the woods. Like, you get so many Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
going through the woods, you know, like the
Mhm.
first one, you get all these homages, and it's very much so fan service for the people that love Evil Dead. Like you get these
Mhm.
Easter eggs, stuff like that, and you point them out, and you're like, okay, you know, but it's not like over the top. Like you don't,
Yeah.
it doesn't take away from the movie, you
Mhm.
know.
You don't have to have seen any of the other Evil
No.
Dead movies for this to make
But
sense.
it's
But
not-
the Easter
Yes.
eggs are really good
It's
fan
there
service.
for fan service, but I don't feel like they went over the top with
Right.
them.
Yeah.
It's the gore, it might not be 2013 gore, but it was still there. It was still
Mhm.
very gory. The eye scene, ugh,
Loved it.
I
Loved it.
loved it. The book, I didn't care for its look that much.
Yeah, I have to agree.
The book all that
Yeah.
much. But yeah, I just it was good. It was a fun time. And I would watch it again. I know I probably will. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely will.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Keisha, do you want to give us your number 3?
Same thing, Evil Dead Rise, and I watched it again.
nice.
Again. I like that it had a lot of Evil Dead 2 references, especially with the eyeball situation. Of course, I've seen, we've seen The Shining with the
Mhm.
whole elevator thing. I like that. I recognize there was some couple of horror, homages in this film. Another thing about it is that if y'all did not see the poster in Danny's room, if y'all are very familiar,
I'm
and
guessing it's a Wes Craven poster because it goes with Evil Dead. It usually goes back and forth, having something. He usually had like Sam Raimi usually has something Wes Craven in it. So it wasn't a Wes Craven.
Three Stooges.
I can't remember.
Oh, well, that's
Oh.
interesting.
Three Stooges.
Well, that kind of
Sam
makes sense because
Three
Evil Dead
Stooges.
too. Yeah, Evil
Yeah,
Dead 2.
Sam
Ash kind of
Raimi.
did like a
Yeah,
The
Mhm.
three,
because
yeah.
Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell and Ted Raimi, they're like huge fans, especially
Mhm.
Sam Raimi, are huge fans of Three Stooges. And there was a Three Stooges poster, in Danny's room, and I seen that for the second time. The first time I watched it, I was just like, let me just watch it in its whole entirety. Second
Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm looking for clues, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, to see if like I still felt the same way about a certain scene, and I did. I got a little bit of water in my eyes. I know, everybody's like, the characters wasn't like too fleshed out. There wasn't like a lot of, like substance with their characters, but I feel
Yeah.
like, I felt like the mother, Ellie, which by the way, she did an amazing job.
Mhm.
She
And
did.
so is the little
Oh, yeah.
girl, they're to me, they're more of like a non-conformist family. You
Yeah.
have the
Mhm.
guy, the son's the DJ, and I'm a DJ too. The older sister, she's like into saving trees and water and chipmunks and stuff like that. And then you have Callie, it was a Cassie, yeah. Some people may think she's a little bit odd because of what she was doing, in the film. But I looked at her as more of, she was actually preparing for something that was unexpected. And she just didn't know she was feeling that. Like, she
Yeah.
just didn't realize it. But, when she made her, her little cute little doll and everything, I felt like
Yeah.
she was
Mhm.
Stephanie.
Stephanie. Yes.
Daphne.
and I'm gonna say it like this: she wasn't one of them old dumbass kids in a horror
No.
movie that just sit
Right.
there and shit happened. Oh my god!
Yeah.
No, she was smart. She was on it like that. She had
Mhm.
so much common sense. But what happened at the end. I know, like, that y'all say it felt like it was a little bit like more rushed with it, or like it just didn't have like a little bit more with it, especially just bringing up like the predictable emotions with it. But I seen it in a different lens and stuff, and I was just like, damn, this shit
Mhm.
is not fair to her. Like,
Yeah.
it was not fair to her at all.
Right.
And that's how I when going back second time watching it, I was like, damn, that's fucking deep. But
That's what happens when you're a groupie.
I am a guitar tech, okay?
Yeah.
It just occurred to me there is a Wes Craven reference. when the two little boys from down the hall knock on the door and ask if they want to come over
We're
and
gonna
watch
watch
a movie,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
they're gonna watch. Yes.
Yeah.
That is so right. That's
Mhm.
right. That's right.
And she says, "In your dreams."
In your dreams.
Yes.
In your dreams.
Yes.
Yep. in your
I love that.
dreams.
Very nice.
I forgot to mention how like you have the because they're on the 14th floor and they are stuck up there. Like that gave me anxiety, like
Mhm.
like being stuck like that and not being able to get down.
The
like
stairs are gone.
the stairs are gone. You can't use the elevator. Like that right there gave me like I thought that was good the way
Yeah.
they did that.
Mhm.
Very, very well
One
done.
thing that I noticed that they was on the 14th floor and the whole stuck thing, and when she hollered for help, and I'm just like, throw
No one's gonna
something
hear you.
down, like
Yeah.
hook up some clothes or something, scale that wall like Spider-Man. If you break your leg and stuff, at least the damn deadites can come get your ass.
Dude,
You can holler
right?
out for help.
When they see that
that's how
homeless
I
guy
look at it.
walking with his cart, I was like, just throw something at him.
Right.
Like,
Oh, I
he's-
wonder, was
You
that
can. Throw
was that an
something.
homage
That'd be-
to Prince of Darkness? To have the
Oh,
homeless
could've been.
guy walking by? Yeah.
Totally
Yes,
could have been.
Mhm.
Alice Cooper played the homeless guy.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
main one. I just not too long ago watched Prince of Darkness. I think that is the weirdest, most
Mhm.
underrated, like Wes Craven, no, excuse me, John Carpenter
Mhm.
film,
Yeah.
because it was a little strange for John Carpenter to come up with that, but I found it
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I like it a lot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
me too. So we got Evil Dead 2013, my favorite horror remake reboot. Mia's amazing as a
She
Deadite
is.
and a final girl, and best finale in the franchise. I love Demons too. Have you guys seen Demons too?
Yes, yes. I was thinking about that just now because it's an apartment building and there's a
Yeah.
section that takes place in the parking garage. Yes,
Mhm.
Demons too.
Love it. Number 2, the OG Evil Dead. Number 2, 2013, easily the best remake with great kills and gore, and of course Mia.
Mhm.
Demons 2 is great. There it is, right
Mhm.
there.
Yes.
Apartment building film. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Evil Dead in a museum. Yes, I
Yeah.
would
You
love it.
you have to find somewhere where they're secluded,
Yeah.
that they can't get to people easily.
Exactly. Exactly. And again, like God, it could have been so good. And Dana's a fantastic. Like she's so amazing. Like she's such a great, wonderful person to meet. What's up, BC?
Hello.
Did anyone else feel terrible when the kid drops the pizza and soda during the earthquake? I was
Yeah.
more upset. Like, why did you still try
Wasting-
to open it from the bottom? Like, at least flip it back
Right.
around and
Yeah,
open
it was
right
it was
side up.
salvageable.
You just wasted that pizza, damn it.
And
It
that
was
reminded me of
together
E.T.
pizza.
Like everything in this movie reminded me of something else. When the
Yes.
kid drops a pizza at E.T.
See, Evil Dead.
A
It's a
dig
dig
site.
site from an ancient camp
Mhm.
during the Salem witch trials.
I
the witches are deadites. Oh, I'd be sick.
I would fuck with that. Yeah.
Yes, that would be so good. Damn, you're cursing a lot tonight. I
feel
like it.
the book and like Evil Dead Rise, like you said, Ken, because I made my like theory about it. It's like part of Army of Darkness, where you had the 3 books that Ash had to like find to
Mhm.
recite to get back home.
Yeah.
And it's like these different books, like in different places and stuff. So that was like my theory when I first watched, and I was like, oh, this is like a Army of Darkness reference of like there's many books out there
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
of the
I mean,
Necronomicon.
if you go by the ancient lore, then
Mhm.
it is 7 books,
Mhm.
7, volumes of the Necronomicon.
7
I think it's,
seals, 7,
like, I'm tired of these motherfucking deadites on this motherfucking plane.
Yeah.
You got to cast Sam Jackson in it, though.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, or Bruce Campbell. That would be great. Having Bruce Campbell say it. Sam Raimi is talking about doing another Evil Dead movie himself. What about Elizabeth Olsen enter the franchise? She did great in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes. Yeah.
Someone for the Evil Dead universe. Obviously Devon Sawa. But if Devon Sawa is out of the picture, who would I like to see in the Evil Dead universe? Because I like Devon Sawa and Bruce Campbell together. They were great together
Yeah.
at Black Friday. Like the way they bounced off each other in that movie was fantastic. I'm trying to think, like younger actors I'm really sold on. I like Robert Pattinson a lot. Yeah, I could put him in there. I know everybody's, blah, 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 blah. I like Daniel Radcliffe. Like, I think he was just great in that Weird Al movie. He was great in The Woman in Black.
Mia
you know,
Goth.
Mia Goth, obviously. You know, anything she does is going to be gold.
Yeah.
Who would you guys like to see in an Evil Dead movie?
I want them to go older, like maybe people in their 40s, and I want it to be like maybe in a halfway house where the people are on house arrest with the ankle monitors.
Mm. Okay. That'd be, yeah.
Ooh. What about Toni Collette?
Toni Collette.
Yes, she is an all-star.
Love
Oh my
her.
god.
Yeah.
She should have
Okay.
she should if there were a horror Oscars, Toni Collette should have one.
Absolutely.
Oh god, what's her name that was in Get Out when she had to laugh and cry at the same time? And I'm like, that would be
Oh.
your Oscar reel right there.
Yeah.
She's
Like, how do you
fantastic.
do that? there's-
Yeah, she would be great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What about you, Keisha? Who would you cast in an Evil Dead movie?
I really haven't even thought about it.
Me.
I just
That's what I would
haven't. I
cast.
just haven't thought about it. Like,
Right.
you know, I think I'm
Yeah.
just like I'm just enjoying it as it is, and but no, I just really haven't thought about like who would be in it.
Oh, one of the Culkins, either Rory or what's his name? Kieran. They do really well in
Yeah.
horror movies. Yeah.
I'd like them.
Mhm.
The lead female Deadite was on Vikings. She was, and she was great.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
even though Evil Dead Rise wasn't as gory as 2013, the stakes were at its highest because it involves kids and it's about a family trying to survive.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which did make me feel more uncomfortable as a mom, you know, and the stuff that she did, like that made me feel like worse, I guess.
Mhm.
It was, yeah, like you felt it.
Yeah.
As being a mom.
I would love to see Kevin Bacon. Obviously, you know,
Mhm.
he started in horror. He's done a lot of horror throughout his life with Tremors. He was just in that new one out in the what was it?
They slash
They
them.
Slash Them.
They slash them, yeah.
And he was just cast in Maxine, the next chapter of the Pearlverse. So, yep, I'm excited to see how he does in that. Bill Skarsgård would be awesome.
Oh,
in
yeah.
an Evil Dead film.
Mhm.
Veruza Balk in an Evil Dead film. Melissa George, the girl from Happy Death Day. Oh man, she would be great. Jessica Roth.
Jessica Roth.
Yeah,
yep.
she'd be fantastic. Oh, Matthew Lillard would be the dopest Deadite.
Yeah.
Just
He'd
imagine.
be like, my mom.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard showing up in an Evil Dead movie.
What are you
Like,
doing? What did I just say? Did I just say there's a petting zoo downstairs? No. There are ghosts downstairs, Arthur.
I could fuck with that, Mr. Lillard. So yeah, so I would love to see that. Oh, Clayne Crawford. Wasn't Clayne Crawford in the Lethal Weapon? Wasn't that or what was that? The TV show we used to watch, Lethal Weapon. It was him and
the Waynes.
yeah, the Wayans brother, Damon.
brother. Yeah.
Damon Wayans and Clayne Crawford. Yeah, that guy was crazy in that show.
I heard that he's
A
really
douchebag.
bad to work with. Like everybody hated
Mm.
working with him because he was such an ass.
So yeah, number 2 for me. I'll start us off with this one. I'm going to the Abomination. I'm going
Mhm.
Evil Dead 2013. And I know it was just talked about in the chat a little bit ago, and you talked about a little bit about the drug addiction thing. I thought that was brilliant because it wasn't just a bunch of kids going to party in the woods. You know, let's get fucked up in the woods. We're going here. We're gonna stay here
Yeah.
to get you to kick off dope. And you know, anybody that has a brother or sister, you know, cousin, loved one that's gone through addiction, you know, sometimes you have to go as hard as you possibly can, and they'll forgive me. We're family, but they're going to hate me in this moment. And that's a hatred that I can stand because I'm going to make sure that we're doing the best we can to save your life. Lou Taylor Pucci is fantastic in this film.
He's such a cutie too.
He is. He's adorable. And I was lucky enough to have interviewed him. And I'm not trying to do like the pat myself on the back thing, but he was telling me that when they did the pulling the
eye
needle out of
thing?
his eye,
Ugh.
that was completely practical. He had the needle on his thumb, and he's a magician too. So he would do it and he would just pull, and the needle would come off of his finger as he was pulling because he was just lightly having it on there. So he was actually pulling the needle off his finger rather than pulling it out of his eye. And I thought that was great.
Mhm.
And a big influence on Lou Taylor Pucci is Creepshow. He's a huge Creepshow fan. And at the end of Evil Dead 2013, when he just starts laughing, when she's like, "Why does my face hurt?" and he just starts laughing, that wasn't in the script. That was totally ad-libbed.
Mhm.
And then Fede Alvarez was like, "Let's do that again. And you go hard. You laugh hard." And like, that's where that came from. And he said that he was totally, completely influenced in that moment by this.
I can hold my breath for a long time.
He said that when he was in that moment and he heard her say, "Why does my face hurt?" They had been filming for like a week straight. It was freezing cold.
At that point, he's probably just
Yeah.
delusional.
And everybody was just on edge. And he said that he just broke in that moment. And
Yeah.
that popped in his head and he just started laughing. And, you know, being able to hear something like that, I thought was really cool to be able to hear him go that deep into what that movie was and what the filming process was.
Mhm.
And very sad movie, whether it's addiction, you know, the loss of their mother who was going through mental instability.
Yeah.
There's just so much about this movie that I think is just absolutely heartbreaking. And the alternate ending where we see that her brother has become a deadite inside of the cabin and she gets picked up by the trucker on the side of the road. Like, I think that ending is super good too. But I think, in my opinion, this is the best horror remake of all time. I put it up there with The Thing. I put it up there with Child's Play 2019. I put it up there with The Fly. This is how you do a remake. You take the original idea and you shape it and you make it your own. And I think this movie had and again, you know, you get people that are pissed off. There's no Ash. There's no Bruce Campbell. I don't want someone else to play Ash. Bruce Campbell played Ash, and Bruce Campbell is Ash.
Yeah.
You cannot cast somebody else to play that role. And if they would have tried in this film, I feel like the film would have failed. It would have been a complete failure because he couldn't. You know, I love the new remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, but no one else can play Freddy Krueger like Robert Englund, and that's proven. You know, everybody hated that movie because of that casting. He did a great job.
Freddy Krueger.
Not my Freddy.
Hashtag not my Freddy. Yeah.
I think that he did an amazing job in that movie. I thought he was a fantastic Freddy Krueger. But proof's in the pudding. People hated it because
I didn't hate Jackie Earle Haley in that. I hated the teens. I was like, none of these kids are likable. Like, what is this? I like Nancy. I like Rod.
He did his job. Like he made you feel disgusting and like he made you hate him. Like every time he talked with his dark, like he wasn't even funny. Like it, like his you know, his.
Why are you screaming?
Like, his jokes were scary. Like they weren't funny, and it just made you cringe.
He did a great job. He's not the reason why that movie failed. Right. I think he did a great job.
People straight up, I'm like, why don't you like the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street? And the number one answer I hear is, I don't like Freddy Krueger in that movie. And I'm like, you're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to like
He's a child killer. He's a child rapist. Like, you're not supposed to like that guy. He did the job. He made you hate him.
Right.
Something Robert Englund couldn't do. You watch Freddy and you're like, secretly you're like, get him, Freddy.
Yeah, you're rooting for Freddy. Like, get those little shits.
Fuck them kids, Freddy. Get them. You know, they had Robert Englund on like Nick at Night, you know.
Getting slimed. All the kids are like
that's how he
cheering.
became. In the first two movies, he was straight up scary. He didn't become goofy until around part 3 is when he started to be a little bit goofy. But then 5 and 6, it's just like, he's a cartoon at this point.
Yeah.
He again, I think that got way off topic there, but Jackie Earle Haley did an amazing job. But I'm glad that that's not the direction they went with Evil Dead. I'm glad they're like, you know what? Let's just start this over. Let's start fresh with this, and let's see what happens. Let's see where we go with this. I thought it was great. I love Evil Dead 2013 to the point it's my favorite remake of all time. It's number 2 on my Evil Dead list. What's your number 2, babe?
Well, my number 2 is also Evil Dead 2013.
More Abomination.
Yeah. Like you said, it's a great remake. They took things from the OG, but they made it their own. And they could have never recasted Bruce Campbell, no matter how hard they tried. Nobody would have accepted an alternate Bruce Campbell ever. I don't think. Right. I love the gore. It's probably the goriest one, and I'm there for the gore. Like, I love it. Like how she gets her arm ripped off, how she's licking the knife and it like splits her tongue open. Oh, it's amazing. Mia, like the way she can like make her eyes big, and she just creeps me out. Like, she does such a good job as the Deadite, even though I'm not like crazy about how they brought her back. That was all practical. Like, they really buried her alive in that. Like, I would be freaking out. Like, that could have gone so wrong when they buried her under there. Like, that could have been horrible.
Well, when you see that urgency, that's why he has that urgency.
I
'cause
know.
she's really buried
That's what
alive
I'm
in that
saying.
scene.
But she does so good, and like she was down for that, and I would have been like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't want to be buried alive. Like that's one of my like one thing that freaks me out. So
Yeah, Fede Alvarez said that he did that to try to get that type of performance out of the actor that was playing her brother. He wanted him to feel like he had to urgently do this because the actress is really underneath there.
So he did a great job.
And then when you go to like the that beginning scene where you feel bad for this girl, she's being kidnapped.
Why are you doing this
why
to
are
me,
you
Daddy?
doing this, Daddy? And then I'm gonna eat your, or what does she say? I'm gonna rip your soul out, you pathetic fuck. And you're like, damn, like that's how it paved the way for the rest of the movie. Like balls to the wall right there. So yeah, I love this movie.
Well, just even that one part, like when they start pouring the gas, and she's like, "I'll rip your soul out, Daddy."
Yeah.
And then it cuts to him, and it cuts back to her, and she is the Deadite. I'll rip your soul out. I was just like, God.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You pathetic fuck.
Yes,
yeah.
it was so
what,
good.
What happened to Mommy?
Where's Mommy?
You killed Mommy.
Yeah, you killed Mommy, bitch.
Yeah.
Knock that shit off.
Yeah, and because you think that she's the victim because all the people in the back they look like
Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, Hills Have Eyes, like incest form type people. Yeah, and you're like, what are they doing to this poor girl? And then you realize that they're just trying to like
save her soul.
Save her soul. Yeah. So
awesome. So what about you, Keeshia? What's number 2 for you?
I'm gonna have to go with the first one, Evil Dead.
Okay.
That's second on my list. I feel that like though it is the beginning of like how this like whole franchise and the universe of Evil Dead, it's like it just has like that really the creepiest, just a serious tone with it. I like that. I like the serious tone of like Evil Dead, the first one. And then just hearing the commentary, just like everything behind it, they have to like film it, they were filming, then they ran out of money. And then a couple of years later, they got some more money, and then you film the rest. That's the reason why you see like two different, lighting, angles and stuff like within, this film. You see that like Bruce Campbell character, Ash, he's kind of have like a 5 o'clock shadow, but he was like clean shaven in the beginning. I like it that it was on the baddie list. It was actually banned because of the way how this film was. I mean, it is a low, but of course, like you have, horror films start off like low budget and everything else, but you have to be creative. I appreciate the creativity that they did with Evil Dead, even down to like the part where they were, the oatmeal, that was actually oatmeal that they died. It was just coming out, when they were deteriorating. The necklace, the book itself, I mean, that was like a lot of like, practical effects and creativity that they had to put into this. I mean, y'all gotta love the Oldsmobile. You have to love that Oldsmobile.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Apple for sure.
The old Delta.
Yes.
The whole Delta. You know what I'm saying? I love that. Even like with the camera shots, because actually what you said, like how Raimi was trying, just getting those camera angles, those shots of like, coming in, something's coming through. It's not like, it's evil, how the doors were slamming, et cetera, like we've seen in Evil Dead, and then we see more of it in the Spider-Man universe with Tobey Maguire, and then of course you see all that, from Drag Me to Hell, which is a good movie. I love Drag Me to Hell. That shit was bomb right there. That movie did not give no fucks whatsoever. You thought she would say, but baby, they dragged that ass down to hell. I was like, oh snap! But Evil Dead, it's like, it does have like the whole part of the tree, having like a little bit of that really got me, and it's made my skin crawl. And it's just a different time era, but I guess he was just showing like that it just didn't give a shit. It just, I mean, essay is not cool, but it just, the part about it just shows like how
Evil.
true
Yeah.
evil can really be.
Right.
And that's all I gotta say. So it did a good job. It really did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Again, this list is interchangeable for
Yeah.
me at times,
Mhm.
so I get it. So, what about you, Lady Shasha? What's number 2 for you?
Evil Dead 2013,
Mhm.
because they used 70,000 gallons of blood.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Dang.
my type of movie. I love it.
Heck
I love
yeah.
all the gore. I love when homegirl cut her face open in the bathroom. I love poor guy with the glasses. He kept on getting messed up over and over again.
I
It
know.
took forever for him to die because he kept on getting messed up.
I thought he was going to be the final guy when we were
Yeah.
watching it. I thought he was going to be the Ash Williams character when we were watching it. You know, like he's the one that finds the book, he reads the book.
Mhm.
He's that nerdy guy.
He's like, I think I'm the reason that it's here. Hell yeah, you're the reason it's here.
Mhm.
I thought for sure he was going to be the final guy.
And I do like the subplot of her drug abuse because it
Yeah.
sets the stage for when weird things start to happen, why people don't immediately believe her because
Mhm.
they think, oh, well, she's either tripping or she's going through withdrawal or she's just lying because sometimes addiction as a disease can cause people to lie.
Right.
So I thought that was a good, plot contrivance to be used, and also why they were at the cabin secluded to try to get her to get through the DTs. Like it
Right.
made perfect sense why they were there. So I like that part of it. I love the gore. I love the makeup of how the Deadites looked. I like her being the new Henrietta when she was in the fruit cellar and she's banging the thing. That I like so much of it. When homegirl cut her arm off in the kitchen, it was just like
Ah,
for a person that loves gore like me, it's my type of movie. I
Yes,
really enjoy the practical
absolutely.
effects.
mhm.
I'm with
I
you.
can't.
I think that movie's fucking fantastic.
And then I would think a great follow up to that would be have some people come that are like kind of hipster ish, and they've bought this cabin for dirt cheap, and they're gonna renovate it the way how people buy barns and then they renovate them into these like real fancy houses. Do they come there and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we're gonna renovate it into this really fancy house? It's gonna have solar panels and this all this other kind of stuff, and wait for them to find an Necronomicon after they're almost completely finished with the remodel. So it's a brand new interior. But then they find the Necronomicon and all hell breaks loose. That's a sequel that I just thought of just now. And anything I should say of everything that we've said tonight, all of us here, this counts as a tangible medium. So if y'all do this, you got to cut us a check.
For sure. Because that movie
Yes.
writes itself at the end, driving away like, we almost had it finished. It was
Yeah.
almost done. But then we
Mhm.
found that goddamn book.
Mhm.
That's awesome, man. All right, guys. So we will catch up on the chat real quick before we give our number ones. Bill Skarsgård, Paul Dano, and John Cusack would be great in an Evil Dead film.
Heck yeah.
Dennis just representing me in a horror film. Guy Pearce for Evil Dead. Oh yeah, Patrick Wilson.
Heck yeah.
Yep. Number 2, Evil Dead 2 would be number 1, but didn't like the 4 characters that showed up at the cabin. Bobby Jones. Hey, Sass.
Hey.
Army of Darkness. It's a bomb ass soundtrack. Jason and the Argonauts, but with Deadites. Bruce Campbell at his best. 2013. Yes, it is so good.
It is.
I agree.
Who
I think he
did the
did a
stop motion? Does anyone know who did the stop motion for Army of Darkness? Because it does look very Harryhausen like.
It does. I can. If somebody in the chat can get on that for us, I would really appreciate
Yes.
it. If we're talking about Jackie Earle Haley, yes, he did a great job. Fans don't like the 09 Friday the 13th remake, even though it was great. I like it.
Yeah.
I do.
There's one thing I didn't like about it. Having Jason take a hostage. Like he doesn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't
I
say
agree with that. I agree
Yeah,
with
just,
that.
The only thing-
that part should not have been included. No.
My biggest gripe is the douchebag Trent.
Oh my god.
Nobody is having sex with the woman and says you have perfect nipple placement.
Yeah.
lady."
What the hell?
Like,
Why don't you say that to me? Like, what's wrong with my nipple?
see, he's causing a rift that I can't live up to because I've never said that to you.
Yeah. What the hell?
You have perfect nipple placement, baby.
Thank you.
I would like to see Devin Sawa as Kruger. I know I sound like a broken record, but god damn it, he's
You would
so
like
good.
to see Devin Sawa as anything.
Yes, I would. Jane Levy is, yes, she did great in Don't Breathe too.
She's amazing, and just like she creeped me out like in the room before she turned into the Deadeye, and her eyes were really big, and she was like, "There's something watching me." Like that scared me.
Yeah.
Like the way her face looked.
How could you guys not smell that?
Yeah. Oh, she did so good.
Yeah. Oh, I love the remake. Love it. Good choice. Yeah, I would love for her to come back to horror. I would love to see her reprise her role as Mia. Or Carrie. She would be a great Carrie, but she's beautiful, man. That's the thing about Carrie that's hard for me. Oh, they gotta be.
Carrie isn't beautiful.
No, Sissy Spacek is beautiful, but in the
but
role,
the character is not supposed to. The character is supposed to be like pimply faced and very like
yeah.
There's no way they're not. They have to be in the same universe. Number 1, Evil Dead 2.
Nice.
Number 1, Evil Dead. It gets a spot because of Cheryl. She gets tracked by and predicts. I do love the card scene.
Yes.
3 of spades, Ace of diamonds, Jack of clubs.
And that came back in Evil Dead Rise with the book.
It did. It did.
When they were reading the book. Yes, that was great. Evil Dead 2, horror comedy masterpiece. I give it a groovy 10. All right.
Groovy.
So we will. Oh, there it is. Intravision did the stop motion for Army of Darkness.
Okay.
Thank you, Castellano.
Thank you.
So we are up to our number 1. Would you like to start us off, my love?
Okay, so my number 1 is Evil Dead 2. This is the movie. This is the first Evil Dead that I ever seen. Okay, so it holds a special place for me. I seen this one before I seen the OG.
Same.
Yeah, so that's why it's my number 1. And honestly, I feel like this is where Evil Dead gets its reputation. Is this one from Evil Dead 2? You know, they say it's 2, but really it's a remake. You get most of the first one in, you know, the first sequence or whatever. It redoes all that. You get the Ash. He's becoming Ash, you know, that we love with his one-liners groovy. Like, you know, he's more of a badass. We get the chainsaw arm. We get the boomstick. Like, it's just it means a lot to me because of the factor that I seen it so many times when I was a kid, and I love it. And this is where my love for Evil Dead came from, was this one. So I had to put it at my number 1.
Yeah. Hard for me to disagree. If you've noticed, we haven't talked about that on my list yet, but
this is true.
We're not up to me yet. Right now, we are up to Keeshia. So Keeshia, what is your favorite in the franchise?
Same thing, number 1, baby. Evil Dead 2.
Nice.
And it also came out on my birthday, March 13th, 1987.
Which we have to love.
7 years later, when I was in high school, I was always scared because of the cover of it. Because the cover was pretty cool. And you know, when you go to mom and pop stores, they have the baddest ass horror covers ever. And I was like, you know what? Let's get it. So we popped in it, the VCR. We popped in the VCR. And my brother and I, you know, we were watching it. And then this is where all the magic just happened for me. You know, I was introduced to Bruce Campbell, especially when he was going through the trees and he's doing all this spin. He did his own stunts.
Yes.
He got hurt a lot in this film.
And see, rub some dirt on it.
Shake it off, Bruce.
Though, because of the first movie being banned in a lot of countries, Sam had the bright idea to put it up under Rosebud under a fake production company to release it, so he won't get in trouble with the censors or the rating part, because it was actually it was not rated. So he was smart to do that right there. You know, you had Ted Raimi, who was Henrietta, you know, where am my fruit seller? Who's in my fruit seller? He did a wonderful job. The 4 characters, I know somebody said in the chat they didn't like them, but I like Bobby Joe.
Yeah.
She's just mean as hell, and she dip, and not from the country and stuff. So them 2 right there, they're just, we see them all the time, you know.
But there's no way that dude would have gotten Bobby Joe. There's just no fucking way. Bobby Joe's way hot. There's no way that dude would have.
I'm sorry to tell you this, Ken. That does happen down here. It really.
Well, I mean,
does.
I guess I can't really say much.
What? What? I got you.
Yeah.
Shut up, Ken. Shut up. Anyways, you're handsome and stuff, but now we got some trolls and some booger wolves down here, baby. But
Oh, she said booger wolves.
some baby, we got booger wolves down here. I ain't
Oh,
lying,
that's great.
and I'm not died.
Well, the
Dead
thing
by
is,
dawn, dead by dawn.
was his truck jacked up to 4 feet? Because that also, I mean, this is Floridian. if you got the dunks on the truck, that also increases your value.
Okay.
It's the same thing down here. If you have like
Mhm.
a big old redneck tires and truck jacked up like that,
Mhm.
your value increases. You are a very desirable person.
Mhm.
It don't matter if you
Crazy.
like this or like this or whatever.
Mhm.
Just run a truck like that, and
You
that's
gotta
just how it is
compensate
down
somewhere.
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I drive a Hyundai.
I drive a Honda.
Hey,
But
that Hyundai was my car.
with Evil Dead 2, that just like opened the whole universe to me before I seen the OG. And I'm like, at this time I'm 16, I fell in love with Bruce Campbell, and then come to find out he was in a short, series called Briscoe County Jr. And he was in the Western. I love that show. He was also, because like Robert Tapper, he was the producer, of Evil Dead Rise, and he was like in Xena Warrior Princess because he's married to Lucy Lawless. So you see Bruce Campbell in like cameos in Xena, and then he spun it off with Jack of all trades. Of course, you've seen Ted Raimi. He was in Xena Warrior Princess as Joxer. So you've seen a lot of that after Evil Dead too. And this is where you see Bruce Moore, Ted, you seen him in Darkman, at the end of Darkman. That was like pretty cool. Ted was like one of the bad guys. But Evil Dead was like really special, especially when he had to kill his girlfriend. He buried her. Then she comes back up and do this little dance, and he's distracted, and she runs off into the woods. When she went to that tree, she's like, ah! Like that.
I do love
And then she
the
comes
I call it the
back.
bone dance.
She was like,
When she leaned back and her head just came off and rolled down her hand.
Yeah.
It was kind of beautiful.
She was doing her dancey dance like that. I was like, dang, I want to do a dance like that in my nightgown and have my hair rolled off. And then, he's still entranced by her because he's still trying to like, this does not make sense. And then she come, hello, lover, and was bashing him. I also like the scene where he was just going mad. You had the deer going on, the chairs and everything. It's real campy. And also, I got this for my birthday too. So
Oh,
I had
that's
an
awesome.
boyfriend. He surprised me with flowers, card, everything else, dinner, and he surprised me with Ash. So
Sweet.
me and
That's
Ash
sweet.
been chilling like a villain.
That's awesome.
So there it is. Evil Dead. That's my number one.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, what about you, Lady Shasha? What's your number one?
Let me come back here without knocking over. I don't want to knock over my Phantasm Ball, the original Evil Dead. And I love the way the book was in Evil Dead and the reel to reel. It was very, very creepy to me. And also I noticed in the chat somebody had mentioned Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, that we never got that. This is, if I can get a good grip on that. That's Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. The
graphic novel.
You got the comment.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Love that.
And Tales from the Crypt back there. But yeah, there's something that the original Evil Dead has a special place in my heart. I think the camera work first, well, for one thing, I can't say it's the first time I saw it because, like I said, I saw Evil Dead 2 before I saw Evil Dead 1. But Evil Dead 2, I remember I'm sitting in my room. I'm 14 years old. This is great. I love it. It's not scary. But then that first one came on, and I'm like, wait a minute. This is actually creepy to me. This is creeping me out a little bit. These Deadites are a little bit scary. But I think one of the things that really scared me, oddly enough, the voice on the reel to reel talking about what could happen and reading the book and that really, really creeped me out. Just the way it was filmed. Some of the the tacks they use, like when they fired the shotgun in the original, there wasn't even blanks in it. They were firing that for real. Like when you
That's
find out,
insane.
That is insane.
yeah.
That's
And then if you
crazy.
look on YouTube, you can find the original short that's called Into the Woods. Before they made the full length version of Evil Dead, they made the short Into the Woods, and it's almost like a highlight reel of all the great things about Evil Dead. But yeah, Ash, he wasn't, the most likable character at first, but I see it more like a hero's journey and him
Yeah.
becoming the final boy, so to speak. And I liked him as the final boy. Because you think that he's not going to be the final boy because he is kind of wimpy, but he ends up being the final boy. And I like the part, I want to say it was from part 1 when he tries to escape and the bridge is like bent up like this.
Yes.
And then the multiple times he's full face in the mud, like just he committed to that. Like it's great. Even the tree scene actually really shocked me because like I said, at the time I'm 14 years old. I'm not expecting these tree branches to do what they did. And it's so shocking, which I think that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to show you how evil the evil in the woods are. Like this is how evil it is. And it's like it really solidifies that. So I that's why I put the original Evil Dead as like we wouldn't have the other Evil Deads without the original.
Yes,
exactly.
True.
And like I said, it's a movie that I like, but if I had to choose my least favorite, that's the one I would just have to choose. And for my number one, I'm going with Ash here. I'm gonna go with the Evil Dead 2. It wasn't the first one I watched, actually. The first Evil Dead film that I ever watched was Army of Darkness. And I went backwards from there. Just like you. The OG is the last one I watched of the original trilogy. But Evil Dead 2 is me in a horror film. Like it's got the comedy, it's got the horror, everything that I am and what I write, like when I write horror, is super influenced by Evil Dead 2. And I love the fact that Sam was like, there's a lot that I don't like about the Evil Dead that I wish I could redo. So he just went and made a soft reboot. A lot of people, you could, if you called this an Evil Dead remake, you wouldn't be wrong.
Right. I mean,
all the friends were erased in this one.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it's just there's so many moments that are just laugh out loud, like when his hand flips in the bird, when it's in the the mouse hole, and when, like you said, when he's dancing with the lamp, and then he just goes his head back. And one shot that I love in this film, and the way they did it was shining a really bright light into a puddle of water. But when he did the the touch of the mirror and it's all water, and then he comes out and he's like, "We just cut up our girlfriend. Does that seem fine to you?" Like that whole sequence is so great, and I think it's so close to being just like a perfect movie. Like it's so amazing. I love Evil Dead 2, and it's a movie that I'll defend forever. I've heard people say that they're not huge fans of it, which I respect, I understand, but I don't get, because to me it's just quintessential. It's one of the best sequels of all time, top 3 sequels of all time to me, right up there with Dr. Sleep. I think it's right up there with Empire Strikes Back, Terminator 2, Aliens. For when people want to talk about the best sequels of all time, you got to put Evil Dead 2 up there.
I'm defending Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. I don't care what you say. I love that sequel.
Great movie.
I love it.
It's
too.
the darkest one, and it has one of the
It's
best moments of
good
any
one.
Nightmare on Elm Street movie, when you have the poolside massacre.
Yeah.
Yes.
Freddy having a whole massacre. You're all my children now.
Yeah.
One of the best moments in any Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Period. Completely agree. But
I
I just
agree with that too, because it does give like a lot of shit from a lot of people in the horror community, but it was just something so fucked up, how Freddy was. This is like the Freddy like you said, with the remake with Jackie Earl Haley, how everybody was like, I didn't like it because but you hated Freddy. But I think this one is where you really hate the shit out of Freddy. You really hated him because the way how he tortured old boy, I mean,
and they missed an opportunity. Jesse should have been one of the kids in the hospital in part 3.
Yeah.
He
That's
should have. And that's another good one too, is Dream Warriors, because I like the whole concept of all of them being in the mental hospital and you had somebody that came back with just the OG,
Mm-hmm.
Nancy, who, you know, but
Right.
but I liked how into they kept the house and the whole massacre thing, at the pool party. I was just like, damn, this shit was really lit right there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is time you hated Freddy. You really do. Even
Mhm.
even the bus scene,
Right.
with the kids, the whole bus scene is
Mm-hmm.
like leaning and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. It's going
And
to
I don't think
hell.
he told a single joke in part 2. I don't think there was anything
Hell
funny
no.
about him in part 2. Yeah.
He
No.
did. He did not give no kind of fucks whatsoever in part 2. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even the coach, he gave his coach some hell.
Mm-hmm.
He
See,
really
and that's the other thing
did.
I hear a lot is people like, "Oh, that's the gay one." I'm like, it's more of a you problem
what?
than
Yeah.
the movie
Mhm.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
How many
You
titties do you see in
yeah.
horror movies? You guys see a
Yeah.
couple guys' butts and you're all emotional about it.
Mm-hmm.
Says a lot more about you than it does the film, buddy.
mhm.
Listen, throw
Well,
that out there.
the screenwriter actually did eventually admit that he did put homoerotic things in it, and some that were
Mhm.
left out, like the bar that the coach goes to was meant to be like a gay
Yeah.
leather bar, but they kind of pulled back a little bit, but you can still see kind of touches of it in there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And they kind of there's a documentary on Shudder about it called Scream Queen, which is about how for a while people blamed the actor because the director was like, oh no, the movie's not gay, it's just the actor is too gay to play a straight character, and they kind of like threw him under the bus because he wasn't out at the time.
Yeah.
He hadn't come out as gay,
Which
even though he was, but during
was
the
really
80s as an
traumatic
actor.
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then finally the writer said, well, yeah, I did put, some gay themes in there. But I
Yeah.
let
It's
him
just like,
take the brunt
I
of
picked
all
it
the
up.
yeah.
again,
I picked
if
it up first time
I've
watching
always
it.
said, because I'm straight, I'm a straight white guy, so obviously I've had it rough. But for like if you can't handle a movie with gay undertones, it really does say a lot more about you than it does the film or the people that are in the film. Like I said, you're not bitching about, oh, there's way too many titties in Friday the 13th part 6. Shut the fuck up. Oh, there's no titties in that actually. In Friday the 13th part 5, you're never bitching about that, but you guys see a couple dudes' asses and you get emotional.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But
I'm gonna have to let y'all go. I'm gonna have to dip out. I have to take somebody home, but I totally enjoyed it.
Yes, same here.
On that note,
Thank you so much.
chat, thank you guys for being a part of this. No, Keeshia, I hope you have an amazing night.
Yes.
Lady Shasha, please be safe. I know things are
Yes.
crazy where you're at.
Yeah, be
Everybody
safe,
in the
girl.
chat, thank you for being out
Thank
here.
you.
Yes.
We will see you guys next week when we talk about our top 10 horror scores of all time. So
That's
until
nice.
next time, guys, keep talking
nice.
horror,
Stay who you are.
and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.